The National Memorial Arboretum is 150 acres of parkland and young woodland dedicated to the theme of remembrance. We have over 300 memorials on site already, and thousands of trees have individual dedications, and each one has its own story to tell. The National Memorial Arboretum was founded by David Childs, and he went to America and he visited Arlington Cemetery and the National Arboretum in Washington DC, and it was his vision to combine remembrance and arboretum into what we've got today as the National Memorial Arboretum. So he came back, he managed to have some land gifted to build the arboretum on, and that's why it's in the centre of England. And that's what we have today to remembrance. There are many magnificent memorials at the National Memorial Arboretum. Some have beautiful statues. For example, the one to the Parachute Regiment and the Airborne Forces. That has a beautiful statue on top of Bellerophon, which is the emblem of the Parachute Regiment. It's the first instance of an airborne warrior in Greek mythology, and that's how it became their emblem. It's absolutely beautiful. And there's an above life-size statue of a paratrooper picking up his Bergen, his pack, the pack that drops beneath them, so that it lands first and they know when they're about to hit the ground. So there's some really significant things that people have built into their memorials. 75% of the memorials are military and 25% are others. So for example, road peace, there's a wood dedicated to road peace, so that families who've lost someone in a road traffic accident can ask for a tree to be dedicated in that wood. We have a garden of innocence, which is to remember children who've suffered in times of terrorism and conflict, like the Beslan siege and Dunblane in Scotland. And the symbolism has been built into the design of the garden there. All the plants are white when they flower, and the flower beds are made to be jigsaw puzzle pieces, but the pieces don't fit together, which is in recognition of the shattered lives that these children have had. There are over 300,000 people a year come to the Arboretum now, so that's excellent, and it's a very moving place for people to visit.
People should come here to pay homage to all the people who've given their lives for us in the past in various ways. Like you've got the firemen, lifeboatmen, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and you should come to show your respect for them and show you remember them. Their dying wasn't in vain.
I like coming to the National Memorial Arboretum because my grandfather fought in the First World War. My dad and his brothers and my uncles all fought in the Second World War, and it's nice just to come here to remember them. My favourite memorial is the Navy one, I think. I think it just looks spectacular when the sun's out. The colours and obviously the symbolism of the boat with the shade. I think it's really good.
The Armed Forces Memorial is the national memorial to those in the armed forces who've died on duty since the end of the Second World War. It has over 16,000 names on the wall now, and they're shown by year, by service, and then they're by order of date of death, not alphabetical, so that those who died in the same instant are remembered together. The names on the wall have surname and then initials, and any medals that have been awarded to the individual. There are no ranks, and that's because they've all paid the ultimate sacrifice in death, and everybody's equal in death. The statues, there are two marvellous statues which were done by Ian Rank Broadley, who for many years designed the Queen's head that was on our coinage. One statue, one group of figures represents the family. It's got the body of a dead or dying serviceman being being carried along, and it shows the anguish of the family because the families suffer so much as a result of conflict and war. The statue on the other side shows the scene of a body being wrapped in a tarpaulin for burial in the days before we used to repatriate the bodies. There's a figure that is showing, symbolising the name being written on the wall, being etched onto the wall. And on the other side there's someone who is pointing through a slit which has a line of light that on the 11th of November, at 11 o'clock each year, if the sun's shining, then there will be a line of light coming through the open doorway that the figure's pointing through, and it will go right through the central wreath in the middle of the memorial. The Shot at Dawn statue, developed by Andy de Comyn, remembers the 306 men who were killed, executed in the First World War for cowardice or for military offences, who were subsequently pardoned in this century. And it's taken a long campaign to get that pardon. The statue itself in the centre is designed based on Private Herbert Burden, who was executed at 17 for desertion. And he lied about his age, so he was 16 when he joined the Northumberland Fusiliers. And when he was executed, he still wasn't actually old enough to have officially joined the regiment that he was in. And he had gone to comfort a friend who was grieving at the time when his group were told to go forward, and he wasn't with them, so he was shot for desertion. Around his neck you'll see a medallion, and that's what the 6 firing squad members aimed at, so that no one would know who'd actually fired the fatal shot. And his hands are tied behind as though they're around the post that they were tied to, and they were blindfolded. And the statue is in the centre of 306 posts which represent each of the individuals, and there's a name on each post for each person that was executed and then subsequently pardoned. And you'll see if you look at them, they've got the ages where they're known, and they were young, mainly young people when they died. Some say age unknown because many did lie about their ages. The whole memorial is completed by 6 trees in front of the statue, which represent the firing squad, and it's really must have been quite traumatic for many members of the firing squad to have to kill members of their own.